3, 2, there we go. Hello, everyone, and welcome to a very special episode of 90x9. As some of you know, I was recently hired to write an international marketing playbook, textbook, indispensable guide, whatever you want to call it. And when they told me about this book, I was like, this sounds fun, but I don't like winning things alone. Could I bring like 40 friends from the marketing world with me and they could share their stories? That way, like when I'm traveling, I can be speaking with other friends and it's like a cool like group. It's like winning a soccer game together when the book does well. They were like, yeah, okay. They just have to meet like two like really, really high bars. So one of them was they had to have worked with a Fortune 500. Now, the guest we have on today has worked not only with Google, but also with PwC. And then they have to have worked with a hypergrowth startup. And we happen to have a woman here, ladies and gents, who has worked on the 16th supercomputer in the world. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
And so when she reached out, she's like, hey, we both went to the same business school, i.e. business school. By the way, I'm Eastern European descent and Israeli and Jewish and everything else just like you. We will be best friends. And it's like, oh my God, this is awesome. So obviously I had to have her come on the show to meet you all so that you realize she does exist.
Yeah, quickly explain on myself. Actually, originally I came from the consultancy. So I started my career in PwC and it was a fascinating journey with a lot of great multinational projects. That's where I started work with Google, actually, and I helped them to launch their international billing system. That experience later was even used in LATAM to launch the billing system there. So, that's the way where the school where I started to switch quickly in between different markets. And I deep dive in different topics, a lot in finance and a lot in like starting the new big projects. So with this experience, actually, I entered the business school journey, and had an experience with my own startup, which is a three-sided telehealth platform, because I'm a big fan of sports, and I believe that sport is something that helps people to be successful within their life, to be not only healthy, but also to feel the beauty, the sense of their life, and to use that for multiple fields. So the long story short, we launched it, we pitched it, we won one of the competition and sold the technology at the very, very early stage. And then I returned back to big corporates. That's the point where I helped first Taloka and now Nobus start. So, and Nobus actually is this like supercomputer, which you are mentioning, but our core mission is actually to develop AI market. We are helping AI builders to train, to fine-tune, to deploy, to experiment with AI as fast as possible. We have cloud, we have AI studio, there's like inference as a service, and a lot of cool stuff are coming.
Okay, and you're originally from Riga.
Yeah, I was born in Riga. This is in the Baltic. I grew up in Russia, so I studied in Spain and I live in the Netherlands. So quite wide geography.
Riga has beautiful architecture.
Yeah. It's one of the capital of Baroque. It's treated to be one of the capital of Baroque in Europe. So highly recommended to see that.
Yeah. And how often do you go back there?
Not that often as I would like to, but once a year I'm traveling there. Like majority of my friends, they're living somewhere around Europe or even in US. But yeah,
that's the same. I think I go back home. I used to go back once every 6 weeks, and now it's like once every couple of months, once a year. But yeah. So let's see. What made you decide to get into marketing? Because you're Latvian Jew?
No, like originally as I grew up in Russia, I do hold like Russian citizenship and like Israeli.
Oh, so you identify as a Russian Jew like me?
Yeah, like
close it up.
Yeah. So that's about like a small political situation, because if you like think about the Latvian country, there are like 40% of people who do not have citizenship, but originally they were born there. So For example, I'm like such a person.
Okay. So, all right. So for those of you who don't know, culturally, Russian Jews, usually our parents are very much about math, finance, wanting us to do something with numbers. In the US, a lot of us go into real estate. And then every once in a while, like one of us will stumble into marketing and people are like, what are you doing here? You're the number people. And we're like, marketing is numbers. So marketing is
exactly. It's about understanding the market and all the stuff. Yeah, and I started like studying in economics, and I find economics a very fascinating subject, which helps us to understand the big picture. And that's actually the angle where I entered the marketing, because my first project, as I said, there were a lot of about numbers actually in the finance part. But then the more I went through my career, the more I was involved in the launching the new products. And that's exactly where you need to understand the market. How big is that? What are the trends? Who are the competitors? How it's better to test the first hypothesis and repivot on them. And actually, it's a fascinating journey, because I would say the core success factor is the speed of the learning curve, if the speed of the learning curve on the market, and on the testing from the hypothesis the team brings.
Yeah, absolutely. So for those of you who don't know, if you're applying to IE Business School, you can take the GMAT or you can take an IQ test to get in. So a lot of IE alumni are Mensa, or they scored in the top 1% on the IQ test to get in. So when people look at IE alumni and they're like, how do you guys take in so much data so fast, calculate out a plan, and you're like ready to go when other people are still trying to find the data? And there you go. There you have it. So this is what uniquely qualified Nadezda to be able to switch into marketing for a supercomputer, and then for these top consulting firms, and go through so many different markets around the world, work in so many countries. Now, I know this is, people are just like super jealous right now, but what are some obstacles that you were surprised to face early on in your marketing career?
Yeah, actually, that's, I would say a lot is about the launching the products and keeping so many different stakeholders aligned, to keep in touch with. So for example, when we've been launching the billing system, you can imagine that was an international team which was connected, where we connected people from naturally every continent, like almost every continent. So, and everyone has its own cultural code. For sure, we were united with the same Google cultural code, I would say. But at the same time, we were experts in different subjects, some in the finance, some in the like coding, engineering, the other in the MLOps, the other in, I don't know, like operations, because it's a lot about the operations.
Yeah.
And it's hard to like keep everyone aligned, because everyone is expert. They know for sure how it's better to deal with their subject of expertise. And then when they bring the results and it doesn't match, so this is like the pain point. But it's actually all about the keeping in mind the final goal and the final results, and finding the key points from each party and bringing that aligned. So, and I think this attitude, which I hold since my childhood, like keeping the big picture, helped me in this journey a lot. But like such a diversified team is a challenge. Probably that. Sorry.
I think that's something that's like a cultural nuance that a lot of people don't realize is, like in my family, because my mom's family is Russian Jews, but in the US, like stoicism is something that was taught to us from a young age. Like my 8th birthday, my mom found photos and we were all had like straight, serious faces. We're sitting up proper. And like, we were so proud of ourselves that at the age of 8, we could sit in lace gloves, proper, drinking tea. Like what 8-year-old? Some have like, Yeah, this is a very like Eastern European way of like raising kids. Is like, and even today, like I'll be on a group project with like people from so many different countries, and they're wanting to fight over the lowest, like the dumbest things. And so I'm just sitting there waiting for them to like get all that out. And then it's like, okay, let's look at the big picture. Let's focus. So it's funny to hear that, like, even though we grew up in completely different spaces or places, having that same cultural root has had such a huge impact on our marketing experience.
Yeah, absolutely agree.
That's also something that's a symptom of high IQ, is you don't look at like 1 year, you look at like the 5 to 20 year plan. Like so relationships where some people would impulsively tank a relationship because they're thinking about the next 5 minutes. People with a high IQ, they tend to have these strong business relationships for longer, and they don't get into the petty infighting that you'll see in cross-national teams, because they're thinking, okay, this is counterproductive. I don't need to express emotions right now. I just need to wait for everyone else to calm down. So I'm glad to hear that you have that on your side as well. So what made you decide to share the stories you selected in the book? And I have to say, I love how you did it, because a lot of people just shared one random story, and you went through all of chapter 10's headlines, and you took people through an entire journey. So that chapter 10 is one of the most unique chapters in the book, because we started off with your story of start to finish. This is how one company took every aspect of this section of the marketing funnel, and this is how they applied it to their business. Now dive into the chapter. In other chapters, we had like random stories under each headline that were like completely different.
Yeah, thank you. I think that's like the core idea of the book is hacking the growth. And nowadays, if we would remember this first idea, keeping the big picture, it's important. But nowadays, it's incredibly difficult, because we live in such an uncertainty. The situation changes completely. Like within 1 year, it might change completely, like 3 times, 4 times, and just the other key success factor is the speed, how quickly we adopt. So, and I thought it would be really cool, like with this chapter, which is one of the just tools actually for the growth hacking, to bring on one hand this complete picture, but on the other hand to take the hand of the reader and to go through each of the detail, how that was, and how you could experience this or that tool. So that was the core idea. I hope people will enjoy it.
Oh, I think so. I absolutely. You've had a lot of success with diverse product launches, from Nebius, one of the world's top supercomputers, to telehealth platforms, AI services, the holy grail of Google, the greatest tech company out there, according to some people. What are some of your favorite go-to strategies that you have found work generally well across different industries and different regions?
So I would say it's really interesting to see, on one case, the core thing, how people vote for the product or against the product, is the money. Yeah. So the first sales, one of the key success factor in any product launch. So you have to find the first clients. So, and in this journey, like finding the first clients, it's very easy when people stick to be clients, and it's logical, and starting going towards to the direction determined by these big clients. But the core questions is this type of the target audience scalable? So sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. So if we would think over, I would say like the product-led strategy, product-led growth is one of my favorite, where you rely on the clients, but you always keep in mind how scalable the target audience is, and you observe a lot. How do they actually use your product, and go with the patterns of the scalable target audience. So across the continents, across the cultures, I would choose this one. And quite often that, okay, not always, but often that might bring you to the segment which it does not have that big checks or that big margin, but gives the biggest scale.
Yeah, the economies of scale.
So vote for this.
Okay, that makes sense. Because user acquisition, once you have the users in, you can always upsell them to something later. And their companies are either going to die or they're going to grow.
Yeah, exactly. And with the nowadays, when like markets changing rapidly, like so much, with Nobus, with our AI-centric cloud, AI-centric platform, we constantly, like every day, we already monitor more than 200 competitors, and every day the market is changing. So, but that's fascinating, because I'm actually voting for the fair competition, which means that we learn from each other, we actually help each other to develop the markets. And as a result, if we find win-win strategy, everyone wins.
I hate it when we go into a new market and there are no competitors, because then we have to do all of the R&D, and it's like so expensive to test all these new things. Whereas like when there's at least, I don't know, 4 or 5 competitors, you can just sit back, watch what they do, and then replicate their best stuff. It's
Yeah, exactly. Some of them becoming partners, some of them, like, you just share the value chain, the way how you bring the value for the clients overall on the market. And you can study. I will bring an example from the marathon. Recently, I ran a marathon, actually, and that was for me, absolutely the same story. When you run within like thousands of other people, and people nearby are not those who you are competing with, they are those who motivating you. So I would bring this to the way how we look at the markets and the competition.
To the startup space as well. What are the most expensive mistakes that young marketers should avoid at all costs?
Oh, putting everything in one basket, I would say.
They're like, I watched this thing on Udemy and I think we should go all in. And you're like, no.
We made all the research. We're completely sure this should work. Let's put everything. That's the most painful, because if the strategy won't work, and unfortunately, just because of the statistics, because of all the uncertainties involved, the probability of the fail is quite high. So the team needs to be resistant, test hypothesis, then scale if that worked good, or just retest something different if that didn't work good. So, because putting everything in one basket might mean whether the company will survive or not. So that's why for me this is the most expensive.
I was consulting at this one company a few years ago, and their team was across 13 countries, and the head of the marketing department came in, and I'm sitting with one of their teams meeting with them, and he goes, "Come here," and I was like, "What's wrong?" He's like, "I need you to fix this." I was like, "Fix what?" He's like, "Just come here." So I go into the other room, and there's a laptop set up, and there's someone in the Asian region and someone in Europe, and they have this great idea that's like going to be it's millions of dollars to implement. And he points to the computer and he goes, "Fix this." And I was like, "Do you want to tell me what it is?" He was like, "No, just fix it." And so I sit down and I was like, "So what's going on, guys?" And they're like, "Well, we have this problem and we figured we could fix it by building out a 13-person team in Japan, and it's going to cost a few $1 million because, we have to get all their salaries." It was like, no, you need one web page that ads only go like, and you only drive traffic to
Yeah.
that page with ads. You don't need to hire an entire another marketing team for a foreign country. But
Yeah.
that's young marketer logic. You know, we have a multi-million-dollar solution.
Yeah. This is like, you need to go with it. You need to scale the solutions while the market is actually scales. Yeah, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't have focus. No, the team should have focus, absolutely. But it should be ready, like, as well, to test different hypotheses. Most likely this will be the case.
Yeah, and look at a few different things before you decide on the most expensive one.
Yeah.
So many startups, sorry. Many startups struggle with international growth. Can you share a bit about your approach to launching products globally and what you believe is the key to adapting in different markets around the world?
Oh yeah, that's a really fascinating topic, because like, we went through this with the Toloka and the core, like, thing that was of my focus in Toloka, but with the global launch, where went through this with Nervous. And I would say, okay, you need to understand the core of the product as of now on the market, which was the original one. What are those key pain points which the product solves and for which clients are paying? And then, like, okay, you have this basket, then you go to the other market, and you need to find the most relevant and cheap ways to test this, because some of them will work, but some of them for sure not. And there will be something else, like, as a key factor, which you should add on for the product for the other regions. Maybe you will have to adjust a bit the target audience. Maybe you will have to adjust a bit the channel. And for sure, like, you do go through the initial desk research before you go. You do small tests while, like, I don't know, digital tests before you go there. But going physically to this market, to the conference, to like business meetings, gives completely other perspective. So do your homework digitally.
Yeah.
Know the core capabilities, test them, but then go there and be ready to repeat that again. Because now, while we go into the new market, we go for, like, we make small digital tests, go for the conferences, and then repeat the project again. And that helps to scale the growth way more efficient.
Yeah, no, I agree completely. So mentorship, you spend a lot of time mentoring young startups.
Yeah.
Especially initiatives focused on diversity, supporting immigrants in business. I think that's brilliant. I love that. Economic empowerment, I think, prevents so many crimes, like the rising crime rate that you see when immigrants come into a country. Economic empowerment gets rid of that completely. And we see that all over the world. Countries where they are focused on economic empowerment for immigrants, their crime rate is just so much, significantly, like astronomically lower.
Yeah.
So what made you decide to get into that? What organizations do you connect with to actually make that happen?
Yeah, so I would say everything that we love comes from the personal story, and I should say that nowadays, like, there are several hot countries all over the world, unfortunately. Yeah, and people there, like, face complicated choice whether they should leave everything, start from the scratch somewhere else, or they should somehow to adopt. So, and a lot of decided to go somewhere, but usually those who go, they go with, at least nowadays, yeah, they have brilliant education, they have brilliant experience. They might have or have not even the capital, and they go towards the board, and they can bring, like, through the diversity, because they have this other angle, this other experience to this new market, something really cool, some really great products and projects on one hand. On the other hand, if they would have this infrastructure, the rate of the success would be higher. So everyone would win. So those people would have high probabilities to succeed, to grow the economy where they came to, and to give like more space. So I find this really fascinating. I know like personally so many projects which went through this journey and now are setting up something new in the other countries. So and just sometimes helping to connect those people to some other proper people in this market changes completely the picture. Just you need to have the meeting point for that. So that's where we tested and made a couple of events for pitching such startups. And yeah, I see the mission behind this project, and we together with Oleg Massage, we launched the Future Round initiative and had an event in May this year in Paris. So it's one of the examples how we can solve, but we will see how that goes further. We're just in our journey, and in this rapidly changing environment, we like clarifying how this initiative will go further. But I find it's really fascinating and see the big mission behind this.
Do you know Skolkovo, the Russian business school?
Yeah, sure.
One of my friends used to be a professor there.
Oh.
Yeah, and now he has a company called Go Global.
Wow.
Yeah, he's Russian. He was in Florida, then Mexico. Now he's in, I think, California. I should connect you two because.
Oh, please.
Okay. Now, final one. What is the best way for prospective clients, prospective collaborators to get in touch with you? Some people give out their personal email. I would not recommend it. So do you have Quora, LinkedIn, Facebook, whichever one, I'll add it to the show notes.
Yeah, I would say write me in LinkedIn or write me in Telegram. That's the best way to reach out to me. So Telegram, yeah.
Me too. I hate WhatsApp. I'm always I didn't realize Telegram.
Telegram more comfortable, like more convenient.
I know. Yeah. Telegram's so much more logical. The user interface is better. It's like 1,000 times better. I don't know why they don't use it so much in the US. I'm trying to get everything on Telegram. It's not working. But anyways, okay. So Telegram or LinkedIn. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us, for sharing some of your stories. We look forward to seeing you either in the Netherlands or Israel. Do you go back and forth to Israel, or you're kind of just lying low because of all the tension?
Now I'm living permanently in Netherlands. Yeah,
Okay.
I hope I will have a chance to go to Israel for like a week or so next year, but we'll see how that goes with everything. So, yeah.
Yeah, right now it's kind of crazy. I took my kids for a few weeks this summer because my mother-in-law passed. So we'd go sit Shiva. We had to go, for all of that in the middle of the war, in the middle of rockets being fired. And they kept shutting off the GPSs on our phones. So we couldn't like go anywhere if we didn't know how to get there.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so it's an interesting time to be there. But anyways,
crazy.
So I guess we will find you in the Netherlands.
Yes, I hope to see you soon here. So we'll be really glad.
Well, the food there is delicious.
What?
Not as good as Israel, but the food there is very good.
Yeah.
But anyways, thank you everyone for tuning in, and we will see you on our next episode. Take care.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.